Hey guys, it's Andrea from the blog Pine and Prospect Home, and today I am battling the sun. It is peeking out from behind the clouds and then going back behind the clouds, so the lighting on this video might get bright and then go dark a couple of times here, but we're just gonna do our best today. I want to talk to you guys about frugality and just some tips that I have for you, just coming from someone who is naturally frugal. I know that it doesn't come natural to everyone, and I'm sure that there are many people that are way more frugal than I even am. I'm sure there are people that would look at some of the purchases that I make. In fact, I know there are people that would look at some of the purchases that I make and shake their heads at some of my financial choices, but for the most part, I think that my husband and I have really tried to maintain a very frugal life. And, you know, this idea sort of entered into my head a couple of months ago, actually, maybe more like 5 or 6 months ago. It might have been when one of my close friends, Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, I've done videos with her before, she did a podcast about tips from a naturally frugal girl. It's an awesome episode if you're looking for some money-saving tips. I'd highly recommend going and listening to that, and I couldn't help but listen in agreement to everything she was saying. One of the things that she pointed out in that podcast episode, and it's something that I could not agree more with, is the fact that so often I have friends tell me that they would like to cut back on work, that they would like to have more time, but they're just not able to because of budget. And yet in her episode she said she looks at those people and she sees the financial choices that they are making, the things that they are wearing, the places they are going, the car that they are driving, and in her mind she's thinking, you are literally sitting in an office all day, every day, in order to pay for that life that you're living. And so I, like Lisa, completely agree. I truly believe that I would rather in a million years have more freedom with my time and with my life than to be stuck doing something that I did not love just to pay for a certain type of lifestyle. So I hope this video is a help to you guys today. These are just some things that I naturally do. For me, it's not something that I have to work very hard at, and I'm sure that has something to do with the way that I was raised, the way that my parents were. They were very frugal, and I think that that just has passed down to me naturally. So maybe some of these things will help you. The first tip that I have for you guys today is to meal plan, to eat leftovers, and to use what's in your pantry. I personally enjoy the challenge when I get down to, we shop for 2 weeks worth of groceries, and usually I'm rotating the same types of meals. I have a recipe book. I like to go to that when I'm feeling a little stuck, looking for some excitement in my meal planning. One of my favorite things is getting near to the end of that 2 weeks, looking in the freezer, and using what I have. If it's chicken thighs or a whole chicken or a pound of ground beef, I'll look at that protein and then I'll check out my pantry, and I just love to get creative and think about, okay, how can I use up these items that I have without spending more money? If it requires in my mind for me to tell my husband, hey, after work, can you run to the store and grab such and such? Or hey, can you go and grab this, this, and this for dinner? Then we are just spending extra money, and I try to stay away from that. And once in a while it happens, you know, you run out of a specific ingredient that you need and you know you'll use it again and again, like flour or salt. But for the most part, I try to purchase my groceries once every 2 weeks and use every bit of what I have before buying more, before you know, deciding we should go out to eat, which is something that we rarely do, especially in our tiny town with limited options. So just meal planning and using what's in your pantry, being creative, eating leftovers, and trying not to be wasteful with your food. The second tip that I have for you that kind of goes along with the first is purchasing items that are not processed, that are not junk food. You would be amazed at the amount of money you would save if you just completely avoid junk food and processed foods in general. I really my husband and I try to stick to whole foods in our diet. You know, we have little kids, and there are endless options for little kids when it comes to snacks. And I think one of the simplest and most easy ways to save money is just don't buy those. Just stay away from those processed snacks. They're probably not benefiting your children, and it's much healthier when they're hungry and they want a snack to give them a banana, an apple, an orange, some carrots with some homemade ranch dip. My kids love cucumber slices. And don't get me wrong, every once in a while we will buy granola bars. We might buy some pretzels or some goldfish, but that's about the extent of it. I do not go crazy buying junk food and snacks for my kids to munch on all day, and I think it saves us a lot of money. It really does, especially after being on vacation for 2 weeks and going and getting those things a lot just because it was vacation. First of all, it really affects the behavior of your kids. Do some research on that. Lots of sugar, lots of dyes, it's just not good for your children. But second of all, you spend and waste so much money. So try to avoid those things, stick to whole foods, put your money into calories that are going to benefit you, not empty calories that are, you know, not doing anything for you. They're not giving you any fuel for your body. My third tip for you guys, from someone who is very naturally frugal, is clothing. Oh my goodness. I have so many friends that spend so much money on clothing, and that's just not something that's important to me. Clothing, it goes out of style quickly. It just takes a second to ruin a piece of clothing with, you know, an accidental whatever, bleach, spill, stain, you know, whatever it is. I just don't see the importance in spending tons and tons of money on clothing. I never have. I know that for some people it's very important to them. And you might even argue that I'm a stay-at-home mom, so who cares? Who cares what you look like? But I do think that it's important to look nice, to put some effort into the way that I look and that I feel. But just spending hundreds of dollars on clothing every month, it's just not important to me, and it's just a waste of money in my mind. You can go to Goodwill and find brand new clothing from places like Target, Walmart, Kohl's that are donating to these stores and get amazing deals. I mean, my husband, so much of his wardrobe is brand new clothing from Target that I've picked up at Goodwill's over the years, gotten it just for a few dollars, and it's just amazing if you do a little bit of digging how much money you can save on shoes and clothing. Maybe not shoes so much, I'm a little bit more picky when it comes to shoes, but even you know, even brand new shoes I find at Goodwill all of the time that are donated from these big stores. So I would highly recommend just shopping for secondhand clothes, and you know, that goes especially for children. They ruin clothing so quickly. My boys just destroy clothing and put holes in the knees and stain clothes, and for me to spend so much money on them, it's just not worth it to me. And I think homeschooling has really helped with that. When they were going to school, I put a lot more effort into the clothes they were wearing, because naturally as a mom, we want our children to be accepted, we want them to fit in. And I'm just thankful that one thing I've learned just homeschooling this past year, we made that decision. I don't know if it'll last forever, but we made that decision at the beginning of this school year. And my focus has been so much more so on the inward man. Looking at my child and focusing on their heart and how they are growing as a person, rather than the clothing that they're wearing and the shoe name brand they have. And to me, that's just been a huge blessing that I've noticed, and I'm confessing my sins to you. Like, shame on me for worrying about those things. Of course, they don't look like slobs all the time. But I'm not as focused on their outward appearance as much as I have been on their hearts this past year, and that has been a true blessing to me. So I just think that saving money on clothing, you can save so much by shopping secondhand. My fourth frugal tip for you today is to pay with cash. Just recently, we ended up getting a credit card just because my brother was telling us about all the rewards he gets with his. So I think that you can use it in a wise way. For a while, we were like anti-credit card. We refused to get one. And then we realized now with all of the benefits and the cash back that it was actually wise to maybe get one. And I think that it depends on the type of person you are. We always use our credit card knowing that we have the money to pay for those things. So I don't know if that makes sense. If you're the type of person that doesn't have the control like that, where you just think that you will go and rack up so much debt on credit cards, then I wouldn't recommend having one. For years, probably 8 years of our 10-year marriage, we never had credit cards until just recently. And even still, we are very, very, very careful with how we use it. It's basically for gas and groceries is really how we use ours, just for those cash back opportunities. But really everything we do for our home, we pay with cash. If we can't afford it, we're not going to do it. If we want to work on a project, or if I want to make a big home improvement, and we don't have the cash to pay for that, then it's just something that I have to forget about for now and hope that there's an opportunity in the future. My fifth tip for you today would be to take care of your stuff. Maintain things. I think about, for example, just my appliances in my kitchen, taking care of them, cleaning them often, just making sure that, I realize, and I hear this all the time, that things today don't work like they used to. My parents always joke that they still have, that same vacuum that they had when they first got married. It's just an old one. It's a monster, but it still works. And I get that. Sometimes things break, and things unfortunately aren't made to the highest standard today. But I still think it's important to do your best to just maintain what you have. If something breaks, my husband and I naturally will try to fix it before we just instantly go throw it away and replace it. That's just how we are. Even when it comes to the children's toys, my husband will try to fix it first. So just taking care of your things, maintaining your things, trying to fix them before just replacing them. I think that it's important not to have the mindset of, I'll just buy a new one. Sometimes it can be worth just buying a new one, believe me, when you put so much time into something and it's still not working. We've been there before. I have told my husband, this is not worth the time you are putting into it. Just throw it away and we will get another one. So you have to pick and choose your battles, but I think just maintaining your things is important. The next thing that I want to address is impulse buying. That is not something that I really ever do. I am not an impulse buyer. In fact, I read the other day that the average American in 2020 spent just under $200 a month on impulse buys. That is crazy to me. Maybe it has to do a lot with my life, and I'm very busy as a stay-at-home mom and blogger, also homeschooling, YouTube, and I just don't have the time to sit and scroll through the internet and find good deals online. But I think that if we are just more aware of what we are purchasing every month, the little things add up. They really do. And impulse buys, seeing something, even in this social media day and age of swipe up, swipe up, swipe up. Oh, this product is amazing, swipe up. I don't know that I've ever swiped up on a product on Instagram ever and purchased it. Maybe one time at Christmas. One of my sweet friends was sharing a deal on a neat toy, and I actually swiped up and I purchased it, and I was very, very shocked that I had done that. But my kids still play with that toy. I knew it was a good deal. So just impulse buys, be careful about them. When you go to purchase something, try to stop yourself and think, wait a second, is this an impulse buy? Sometimes I'll put things in my cart that I want, and I'll just think about them for several days. And I can guarantee you, after like a week, usually I've talked myself out of it and I'm thinking, I don't really need that. I'm just gonna delete that out of my cart. So just remember that there will always, I remember my Bible teacher telling me this. I took a Psalms and Proverbs class in college. There's a lot of wisdom found in those books, and my Bible teacher said there will always be good deals. There will always be good deals. And I think a lot of times people use that as an excuse to purchase things, but it's such a good deal. I mean, how could you pass that by? Like, it's such a good deal. There will always be good deals. You've got to learn to have discipline and say, I don't need this. I'm not going to be tempted by the price. Of course, my next tip for you guys is to do it yourself. Try to DIY whatever it is that you would like to do within your home. I mean, it goes even beyond the home. We can talk about little things like haircuts. For example, none of my boys, my husband, I forced myself to learn how to cut his hair. I cut all of my boys' hair. Believe me, it's not the best and most fun thing for me to do, but I do it. And I think it's just these little things. Choosing not to hire someone, if you can, try to learn how to do it yourself. You'll be surprised at some of the things that you can accomplish if you simply just try to tackle them yourself before assuming that you can't do it. And you will run into obstacles, believe me. I think that just having that perseverance is something that I've noticed about myself. Sometimes I can even take it too far to where I refuse to give up. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm always telling my husband that. If we run into a problem, I'm like, there's gotta be another way. And oftentimes, you know, he'll tell me, no, this idea that you have is not going to work. But just trying to tackle things yourself, and rather than hiring someone for the service, asking yourself, is this something I could do on my own? I have a whole video all about this. I believe it's called How to Save Hundreds of Dollars on Home Decor, something along those lines. I'll link it for you guys. I'll put a card here for you so you can click on it and check it out. But doing it yourself, also trying to sell before you buy. That was a rule that I had a lot of times for myself whenever we were really tight on money. I would think, okay, what can I get rid of? What can I sell on Facebook Marketplace? Or can I have a garage sale and sell some things in order to pay for this thing that I want? And I think that that's just a great rule to live by. Sell before you buy. And just to wrap up this video, I hope this was a help to you if you are struggling in this area. But just to wrap it up, I want to emphasize how important it is to focus on the little things. I think that's where a lot of people get in trouble. You know, if you were to sit down and say, what is it that we absolutely need? You know, you don't need to have cable. You don't need it. So just sitting down and talking through these things and making a list of needs versus wants. You don't need to get your nails done every couple of weeks. That's just not necessary. And it might seem like a small expense, but all of these things add up. You know, you don't need to go out to eat all the time. That's something that we are very aware of. Having that awareness, I think, is very important. I have been accused several times of just being so cheap, and sometimes to the point of like, okay, you need a reality check. Life doesn't work like this, you know? But it can be a weakness of mine for sure, but a lot of times I think that it's one of the best things to have. And I do give all the credit, of course, to the way that I was raised and the way that my parents were and what I watched them do. And I'm very thankful for that standard that they set for us. But I hope these tips helped you guys today, and if you have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below. I always enjoy reading and learning more about this area because I'm sure there are ways that I could save even more money. I just think it's a neat topic to discuss, and so feel free to leave your tips in the comments below, head to my blog and pin this post on Pinterest so that you can refer back to it. Of course, I'll have all the tips for you there as well. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. And I just wanted to end with one thing. I didn't want to mention this at the beginning, but I came home from vacation just a couple days ago, and I had like 3 letters in the mail and packages from YouTube subscribers. I will try not to get emotional. Just the sweetest, kindest people just encouraging me, and just the sweetest gifts. I have to sit down and write thank yous to all of these wonderful people that encourage me and reach out to me. It is just such a blessing to me, and you really don't know how much it means, and I just want to thank you. You know who you are. Every single card that I get in the mail, I always cry reading it. To know that I have touched someone personally is just, it makes everything, all that I do, worth it. And I just want to thank you guys for all of your love and support constantly. So if you are new here, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.